Hello everyone, I hope that you all are fit and fine, and let me tell you that I am completely fine as well. This is the second video of the May 22 and November 22 income tax batch for the CA intermediate students, and this is the first video where we are going to start with our syllabus because the previous video was an introductory video. Let me also tell you that the entire first chapter I am going to be uploading it on YouTube as demo lectures. So if at all you are watching these lectures on YouTube, you can download the notes from the link in the description box below. So without further ado, let us start with the class. But before starting with income tax, you have to be a little patient because first and foremost, I want to tell you a small story. This story is about my articleship days. During my articleship, actually, my parents had their 25th wedding anniversary, and before the anniversary I was very excited because I wanted to give my parents a really good gift. So I went to the gift store and saw a really good gift, but that gift was worth rupees 10,000. As soon as I saw the gift, I was convinced that this was the gift that I want to give to my parents on their anniversary. But however, as you all know, that during articleship our stipend is very limited. So I had only rupees 2500, which was my stipend money, and all the previous balance was already spent. So only 2500 was there in my pocket. Hence, first I would obviously utilize this 2500 rupees. Now, when our own funds are not sufficient, where will we naturally go? We will naturally go to our parents only. However, I did not want to tell my parents because I wanted to keep it as a surprise. Hence, what I did is I lied to my parents that I want to buy some books for CA final, and I told that I want rupees 5000. I want how much? Rupees 5000 to buy the books. Sir, you want 7,500 rupees? Then why did you ask just 5,000 from your parents? Because I know that if I ask up to 5,000 rupees, my parents will give me the money without cross questioning. But if it is more than 5,000, they will start cross questioning me. Okay, so I asked only 5,000 rupees from my parents so that it will be a secret. Later on, if they know, it is not a problem at all. Okay, now how much balance do I need to buy the gift? The balance I need is 2500 more. So naturally, when we are out of our funds, we have asked our parents also, but still we do not have the money. Where will we go next? We will naturally go to our friends. Okay, so my best friend was also doing articleship along with me, and I went to him. His stipend was also 2500, which was newly credited to his account, and I told him that please give me this 2500 rupees for now because I want to buy a good gift for my parents. After my parents come to know, okay, I will get either the money from them or I will get my next stipend and repay you the money back. Okay, so I took 2500 rupees from my friend. First 2500 rupees I got from myself, second 5000 I got from parents, and the next 2500 I got from my friends. Okay, so total I got 10,000 rupees, with which I bought the gift. I gave it to my parents, and my parents were really happy after receiving the gift. However, they scolded me a little because I took this 5000 rupees by lying to them. Okay, so this was the small story. Now let us begin with income tax. Okay, you might be wondering, in the first lecture itself, why am I sharing with you a personal story? It is because I want to link this story with income tax. Okay, so first and foremost, we live in the country India. Okay, now whose responsibility it is to develop the nation? To develop the nation, the responsibility lies with the government. The responsibility lies with the government. So the government takes the responsibility of developing the nation. Okay, but for fulfilling this responsibility, the government needs two important things. What are the two important things? Number one is money. If they don't have money, how will they fund the projects and how will they able to spend to develop to involve themselves in development activities, to invest in infrastructure, to feed the poor, etc., etc. There are so many activities which the government does. And the second thing that the government needs is power, because if the government does not have power, the people will not allow the government to do anything at all with peace. Hence the government must have power so that they can carry out the activities which they want to. Firstly, let us come to money. Now, where does this money come from? First and foremost, now I would like to link the government with myself. Okay, let's take the role of the government. Now, first and foremost, when I needed the money, where did I get the money from? I used my own money, correct? Similarly, government also will first use its own money. Own money. Where will the money come from? It will come from the government's own businesses. Own businesses or own ventures. So, for example, the government owns the Indian Railways, correct? So, Indian Railways will give them the money, or the government also owns a majority stake in Indian Oil. Okay, so Indian Oil will give some money to the government from its profits. Then government also has ownership of ISRO. ISRO will give them money. LIC will give them money, Life Insurance Corporation, etc., etc. There are so many ventures that the government is involved in, from where the government is going to get the money. Okay, so government will first use its own money. Next, after using its own money, still when the funds are insufficient, where will the government go? Where did I go? I went to my parents, correct? I wanted to give to my parents. For that also I went to my parents itself for the money. Similarly, the government wants to do good to us, the public. So the government will take money also from the public itself, because the public is the parent to the government. From the public only the government is born, correct? Hence, the government will take money from people. And how will it take money? It will collect money in the form of taxes. It will collect money in the form of taxes. So it will collect tax from the people, and with the help of this tax, it will try to fund the development projects which are taking place in the nation. Next, even after collecting taxes, okay, and you all know that taxes, like how I could only collect 5,000 rupees, that is an amount only up to a certain limit from my parents. Even the government can only collect taxes up to a certain limit from the people, because if more and more taxes are collected, then the people will vote the government out, and it will not let the government come back. Okay, not let the party come back again to form the government. You get my point? Hence, taxes can also be collected only to a particular extent. So after this, where will the government go for money? The government goes to its friends. Okay, like how I went to my friend, the government also goes to its friends to borrow money. Okay, internally it can borrow money from banks, the Reserve Bank of India or other sources, and externally it can borrow money from the World Bank or from any other country also. So the third source is borrowings. You get my point? Third source is what? Borrowings. Now let's come to our notes. So as I told you, to develop the nation, the government needs two things. Number one, power. Number two, money. Money comes from government's own ventures. Own ventures means what? Own businesses. Own businesses. And then second is taxes, and third is borrowings. Now we are more concerned about taxes because our subject is what? Our subject is income tax. Now what are these taxes? Taxes means money charged by the government. Okay, so money is collected by the government from the people, but there should be some way through which the money is collected, correct? So money is collected on either products or income. Okay, product means what? Example, goods. Income means whatever income a person is earning, from that income the government can take some money, okay, or activity. For example, some services, if someone is providing services, the government can take a share of the money from that services as taxes, and government takes this money to meet the common welfare expenses, okay, to meet the common welfare expenses. Now there are two types of taxes which we have already studied when you were studying in 11th standard, 12th standard, but still let me explain it to you once again. The first type of tax is direct tax, second type of tax is indirect tax. Direct tax is collected directly by the government, indirect tax is collected indirectly by the government. Very simple, correct? Now what is this directly and indirectly? Let us know. The biggest example of direct tax in India is income tax, and the biggest example of indirect tax in India is GST, and both are a part of your taxation syllabus, correct? GST, one more example can be custom duty, okay? So now what is the difference between direct and indirect tax? What is directly, what is indirectly? Direct tax, as I told you, it is collected directly by the government. Hence, the government goes to the people. Okay. For example, in case of income tax, it will directly go to the people and it will tell them that this much is the income that you are earning. Hence, give me a part of that income as taxes. It will directly collect the tax from the people. Hence, it is called income tax or a direct tax, and it is charged on either income or wealth. However, in case of indirect tax, no, it will collect from the people indirectly. How will it collect indirectly? It will be charged on goods or services. Okay. For example, I want to buy this pen. I want to buy this pen. The cost of this pen in the market is rupees 100. The cost is rupees 100. Now, the government would have charged a tax of rupees 10, okay, in this 100 rupees. But when we are buying it from the market, we are paying 100 rupees, but we do not know that in this 100 rupees, 10 rupees is in the form of taxes. You get my point? So directly the government does not collect taxes from us, it collects indirectly. Hence it is called indirect tax. When I am buying this pen, I might not know that I am also paying tax to the government while buying this pen. You get my point? Okay. Hence, it is an indirect tax. It is charged on goods or services. Next, in direct tax, the incidence does not pass. Incidence does not pass means what? I cannot pass on my tax to any other person. I have to pay my tax myself. Simplistically speaking, I cannot recover my tax. Cannot recover. I cannot recover my tax. However, in indirect tax, the incidence passes to the end consumer. It means that the tax can be recovered from end consumer. Okay. Sir, what is this passing of incidence? How can I recover the indirect tax? Basically, see, if I am buying this pen, okay, for 100 rupees, I am also paying taxes along with it for 100 rupees. Now, I do not want to pay the taxes. So what can I do? I will sell this pen for another 100. Usually we'll keep a profit margin, but for the sake of example, let us just keep it as 100 rupees. So if I am selling to another person, okay, I will collect how much from him? 100 rupees. So I have paid 10 rupees as taxes, correct? Now I have collected 100 rupees from this person again. Hence in net I have not paid anything as taxes because I got the 100 rupees entirely back. Hence only the person who is finally using the product will have to pay the taxes. Okay. In detail you will know about this concept when you are studying the GST law. Fine. Now let us come back to direct tax. Direct tax is progressive in nature. Sir, progressive in nature means what? Progressive in nature means rich are taxed more and poor are taxed less. Rich are taxed more and poor are taxed less. In income tax, when we are going to study, we will see that there is a concept of basic exemption limit and slab rates. Basically, if a person is earning an income up to 2,50,000 rupees, he need not pay any income tax at all. Okay, and if a person is paying more tax, the tax rate increases as the limit crosses. Okay, and the person who is earning more income has to pay more income tax. The person who is earning less income has to pay less income tax or no income tax. Hence, where the rich are taxed more and the poor are taxed less, it is called progressive taxation. It is called progressive taxation. Now let's come to indirect tax. Indirect taxes are regressive in nature. Regressive means what? Opposite of progressive. So poor are taxed more and rich are taxed less. Apadiya? Answer is no. It is not like that. Regressive taxation means everyone is taxed equally. Okay, everyone is taxed equally. How equally? For example, if this pen is available in the market for 100 rupees, okay, and the tax on this particular pen is 10 rupees, then even I am paying the same 10 rupees as tax. Even if Mukesh Ambani is buying this pen, who is the richest man in India, he will also pay only 10 rupees as tax. Okay, so tax does not differentiate between the rich person and poor person. For everyone, tax is collected equally. Hence, it is called regressive system of taxation. Means everyone is taxed equally, or everyone is taxed in same manner. You get my point? So this was the difference between direct tax and indirect tax. So direct tax is collected directly on the income or wealth. Okay, biggest example is income tax, which we are going to study. Okay, the incidence does not pass means the tax cannot be recovered from any other person, and it is a progressive type of taxation where the rich are taxed more and poor are taxed less. Indirect tax, the biggest example is goods and services tax, that is GST, which also you are going to study in taxation. Okay, it is charged on goods and services, goods or services. Incidence can pass to the end consumer. Okay, hence if you are paying the tax, if you do not want to have the burden of the tax, you can shift the burden to another person, and it is a regressive form of taxation where everyone is taxed in the same manner. Fine. Now we have discussed about money. Now for the time being, let us pause this, and now let's go to the next big thing which is required by the government, that is power. From where does the power come from? The power comes from the constitution. The power comes from the constitution. So the constitution gives the government the power. Now in this constitution, okay, it gives the government the power to collect the taxes from the people, but the constitution also places a restriction on the government. What is the restriction? The restriction is that no tax can be levied except law. There is article number 265 in the constitution which tells that no tax can be collected by the government except with the help of a law. So the government just like that cannot go to the public and tell them that I want this much money as taxation. First it has to form a law, it has to pass it, it should be implemented in the entire nation, and only with the help of that law they can collect the taxes from the people. You get my point? So article 265 places a restriction on the government. Okay, now we know that the government can collect the taxes only with the help of law. So how will the government form the laws? First and foremost, there are two major forms of government in India, that is the central government and state government. Who can form the law and who can collect the taxes? Let us know. In the constitution itself, there is another article called article 246. Okay, in that article there is a schedule called 7th schedule. In the 7th schedule there are three lists. Okay, List number 1 is union list, list number 2 is state list, and list number 3 is concurrent list. Fine. So there are 3 lists. In each and every list, different type of options are given, or different type of options are given. Now in the union list, that is the first list, what and all things are given inside the union list. For those particular matters, the central government has the exclusive right to make the laws on it. The law can be made by parliament. Okay, law can be made by parliament, and who passes law in the parliament? The central government. Fine. So the central government can make the laws on all the matters which are contained in the union list. Second list is the state list. The state list, what all matters are given, on those matters the state government, okay, or the legislative assembly has the exclusive rights to make the laws on those particular matters. And in the concurrent list, there are certain items on which the central government and state government both collectively have the powers to make the laws for the country. You get my point? Now our focus is more on the union list, because the subject that we are going to study is income tax, and in the union list there is entry number 82 which states that income tax on income other than agricultural income. Hence the central government is having the power to make the laws about income tax and collect the income tax from the people on any income other than agricultural income. Okay, now how will the central government make the laws? Let us know. So first and foremost, elections will be conducted every 5 years. Okay, after the elections, the people will elect their members of parliament, MPs. People will elect whom? Members of parliament. These members of parliament will form the Lok Sabha, or the lower house. Lok Sabha or the lower house. Now let us imagine that this is the Lok Sabha. Okay, in the Lok Sabha, all the members of parliament from various regions who have been elected will be coming and sitting. Correct? Now, of all these members, the party with the majority number of members of parliament will collectively form the government. The party which is having the majority will collectively form the government. Now, so the government will also have members of parliament, and there will be members of parliament other than government also. Now what happens is, the government actually divides its members of parliament between various ministries. Okay, so for example, there is finance ministry. For example, there is agriculture ministry. Okay, corporate affairs, education, etc. So there are various ministries. Now what is the purpose of these ministries? The members of parliament from these ministries will introduce the laws based on the matters for which the ministry has been formed. So taking the example of income tax, the income tax related laws will be brought in by the finance ministry inside the parliament. Okay, so now the member of parliament will introduce a bill inside the Lok Sabha. What will they introduce? Bill. Introduce a bill. So a new law which is brought in the parliament, okay, which has not been passed yet, it is called a bill. Now after it is introduced, there will be discussion in the parliament about that particular law. Okay, and then all the members of parliament inside the Lok Sabha will have voting. Okay, and they will vote whether this bill will be passed or not. If at all the bill gets majority votes, it will be passed. Okay. After the bill is passed, it will go to the upper house or Rajya Sabha. This bill will be introduced in the upper house or the Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha also has members of parliament. However, these members of parliament are not elected by the people directly. They are elected by the members of legislative assembly of various states. So they collectively elect the members of parliament who comes in Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha members will now do voting on this bill, and if there is majority votes in the favor of the bill, then it is said to have passed in Rajya Sabha also. Okay. If the bill passes in the Rajya Sabha, then this bill will go to the President of India. This bill will go to the President of India, Shri Ramnath Kovind ji. Okay. So the President will get this bill, and only when the President signs on the bill, then this bill will become act. Becomes act. Act means what? Act means that a law has been passed and implemented in the country. When will the act be implemented in the country? From the date on which it is written in the act. Okay, so the date will be written in the act. On that particular day, it will be implemented inside the country. Fine. So this is the process. Hence, even when income tax, even if you ask about income tax or finance act that we are going to study a little later, all those acts are passed like this only. The MPs, okay, or collectively the finance minister comes as a representative of the government and introduces a bill in the Lok Sabha. In the Lok Sabha, when it is passed by majority, it will go in the Rajya Sabha. In Rajya Sabha, when it is passed, it will go to the President of India, and only when the President of India signs on the bill, it will become an act. After it becomes an act, it will be implemented in the nation from the date which is mentioned in the bill. Okay. Or if it is not mentioned in the bill, it will be implemented from the date on which it comes into force. Fine. So this is the process of a law. Hence, like this only, the central government has brought in the Income Tax Act. Income Tax Act. Income Tax Act is only the primary source of the income tax law, and we are going to learn about the basics of income tax law in the coming videos. Fine. Now, let me clear out a few things. First and foremost, it is given here income tax on income other than agricultural income. And you would have also heard that agriculture income is totally exempt. Does it mean that no government has the power to tax agriculture income? Answer is no. The income tax on agriculture income is given in the state list. Hence, if the state government want, then they can collect income tax on agricultural income. But usually, the state governments do not collect income tax on agriculture income. Fine. Hence, the power to levy the income tax lies with the parliament, and parliament is controlled by whom? The central government. Hence, the power to levy the income tax is with the central government on any income other than agricultural income. Now, you would also be getting a doubt in your mind. You would have heard about Goods and Services Act. Okay, Goods and Services Act is collectively charged by the central government as well as state government. Okay, there is CGST, central GST, and state GST, that is SGST. So does GST come in concurrent list? Answer is no, it does not come in concurrent list. Then where does GST come? That you have to know from your GST teacher. Okay, you will get to know from him. Or when you read the study material, you will be able to get the answer for that. In the concurrent list, there are various matters like health, education, etc., where the central government and state government both have powers. Okay. So this was about the money aspect and power aspect to collect the taxes from the people. From the next class onwards, we will start discussing about the income tax law and the various components of income tax law. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.